After I finished Superman the Animated Series, which was great, I've been marathoning Batman Beyond before I started marathoning Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Um, yeah, geez, how do I say this? I don't think Batman Beyond is that impressive. Like, don't get me wrong, it's really refreshing to see a well animated action cartoon. Because back in the day, back in the 2000s and, late 90s, there were more animated action shows and whatnot. And then they kind of stopped in the 2010s because those types of shows were too expensive. How cartoons are in the 2020s, I'm not really sure because I haven't caught up with many cartoons, at least the modern ones. Anyway, um, so yeah, it is nice seeing a more serious and cool cartoon. But my thing about Batman Beyond is that it it's not as good as Batman TAS. Batman the Animated Series had so many banger episodes and so many great characters, especially the villains. In Batman Beyond, I'm just not feeling it, to be honest. I mean, don't get me wrong. Terry McGinnis is cool. He has a cool bat suit. He's definitely a capable fighter. I do like how he doesn't 100% follow Batman's code. If Terry McGinnis gets a chance, he definitely might kill you if given the opportunity. Although he does try to avoid killing at all costs. And yeah, it's a cool show with some cool action. I think my biggest problem though is that the villains in this show are just so lame. Or maybe that's too harsh. I just don't remember them that much. I mean, what are the villains? We got Ink. Ink is the best villain because she has a great design, and she's basically a Clayface, but even more disturbing. So that's awesome. The problem with Ink, though, is that she doesn't have the same character development as Clayface. You see, Clayface was a very tragic character, and he actually had one of the more tragic episodes. Ink is just evil because screw it, I'm Ink and I'm evil. And then we got Nerd Guy who has a psychic connection with a robot. Okay. I mean, the episode has social commentary on bullying, but the bully doesn't really get punished or anything. I mean, he gets his car destroyed, but he's fine in the next episode. The nerd is the one that gets thrown into juvie. Then we basically got Craven the Hunter over here, who his introduction episode, he wants to have the greatest hunt ever, but he feels like he's already challenged everyone, so he wants to go after Batman yet. It's basically how Craven wants to get Spider Man. But the thing is, this guy, I mean, he tries to be noble, but he go out of his way to kidnap a child to use as bait to get Batman. And yeah, he only has two episodes dedicated to him. We have Rat Guy here who thinks women are entitled to him because he's like super lonely or something. You might notice a pattern here. Outside of Ink, I don't really remember much of the villains' names in this series. Like, I remember Two Face, I remember Penguin, I remember Joker, especially Joker. I remember Riddler. Those are characters that have way more screen time and personality that help them be more memorable. The big problem with Batman Beyond's villains is that they only have like one or two episodes dedicated to them. Ink has about three. Then we got a guy who can like send shockwaves or something like that. Actually, he had a great episode where he tried to get Bruce Wayne to kill himself, but after that episode, he just becomes like another villain of the week. Also, he looks like a goddamn Ben 10 alien when he puts his suit on.
Maybe this is someone else.
Like check this shit
Doesn't
out.
really matter.
We got this criminal family who base themselves off of art that you would see on cards, and with each episode, this guy who's like the leader, the father of the family, he gets outed as more and more of a loser. And Terry literally cheats on his girlfriend with, the daughter of that card guy. Then we got Curare, who's like a assassin, who's blue for some reason, and she doesn't really have a personality because she doesn't talk and she just wants to kill. That's about it. That's all there is to her. And I have nothing against silent stoic characters, but my God, even Samurai Jack has more personality than her. So Skeletor over here is the guy that set up Terry McGinnis's father to be killed. And what's even more crazy is that Terry, out of revenge, caused him to get mutated. So I thought this character would have more screen presence. I thought he would be like Terry McGinnis's Lex Luthor, like how Lex Luthor is the Superman. But no, he once the first season is over, this guy's never seen again, and he's replaced by his son, who gets a lamer episode involving the card people. I think outside of Ink, my favorite villain in the show is Spellbinder. And even then, I barely remember Spellbinder's name, but I do like how Spellbinder can literally mess with your head and cause you to hallucinate. I mean, his first episode introduction is pretty strong, and there's a really funny scene where he tricks Batman into thinking he's in some sort of supermarket competition TV show or whatever. Then, as the show goes on, his episodes got a little bit weaker. He gets one of Terry's friends addicted to some sort of virtual reality. And why is that? Is there some sort of deep, complex reason? No, it's because I'm evil and I want money. How did these villains get out of prison, by the way? Like, in Batman TAS, it was justified with Arkham. Arkham is not really prison, it's an asylum to help people get back into a better mental headspace. But in this show, there is no Arkham. So when villains get arrested, they just magically get out, I guess. My favorite episode of the show, though, is Sneak Peek because in this episode, this guy, this drama slot person, ends up discovering the identity of Batman, and he tries to bribe him. And how he discovers Batman's identity is because he has his power or whatever that lets him fade through walls. But then the power ends up, because of some science mumbo jumbo, the power ends up literally making him fade through the floor. And yeah, his death is pretty brutal for a kid's show. And just like Lois Lane always gets kidnapped in the Superman TAS, there's this running trope or gag or whatever where Terry's girlfriend is like, "Where's Terry at? I wonder who Batman is." I swear, like, not only did Terry cheat on her, but the writers, they just don't really do anything with his girlfriend, outside of showing that, hey, Terry has a girlfriend like other teenagers his age. Like, my goodness, at least with other love interests like Lois Lane and Superman TAS, she actually has more depth and she's actually way more funny and interesting. Then there's this guy who has like a super cool suit, but the reveal behind this character is incredibly stupid. It's so dumb, I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I watched this Batman Beyond episode where there's this villain who can't be touched, and I just don't care about this guy at all. In Batman Beyond, we got an older version of Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon, and I don't mind that at all that she's a police commissioner. What I do hate, though, is that she confirmed that at some point her and Bruce Wayne hooked up, and I'm just like, ew. I mean, I know she was of legal age, but come on, man. Like, Barbara Gordon was practically Bruce Wayne's daughter in a way, and like, Bruce Wayne, why can't you just date women around your own age? Oh my God! At least not the commissioner's daughter. That's just sick. Who thought that was a good idea? Was it Bruce Timm? I got comments saying that Bruce Timm was the sick person that thought these romances were a good idea. So here we got Terry's friend Max, who has a high IQ, voiced by Cree Summer, the woman who voiced all sorts of black cartoon characters back in the day. Goodness bless her. Anyway, yeah, Max is alright. The key word is alright, though she doesn't really do much, but her shtick is that she has a very high IQ. And that's about it. I guess she's like Terry's Alfred. Personally, I feel like Terry should have hooked up with her. I mean, she clearly knows more about Batman than Dina or whatever her name is. Terry's original girlfriend. I don't know. I just wish they did more with this character. Now, a lot of people love to say that they like Batman Beyond because it's dark and the show actually has a kill count. And yeah, it definitely is dark. It does have some dark moments in the show and some deaths. But so did Batman TAS, the new Batman Adventures, and Superman TAS. But yeah, I'll give credit to Batman Beyond. It definitely is pretty dark for a family friendly kids show, after all. I do like how Batman is old and bitter, and he still has his moral code and whatnot. But that was Batman's biggest weakness, is that he is just human at the end of the day, and humans get old. The idea of Batman having to pass on the torch, that's a really cool concept. Anyway, let's see how this scene plays out. Oh, cool. It's Satana. Okay. Oh, cool. So it's Lois Lane from Superman TAS. That's awesome. There, he's reminiscing about the older shows that came out. Oh, okay. They got Selena Kyle, and man, they're still using the redesigns. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked how she looked older in the TAS version, but whatever. This design is still cool. Oh, hell nah. Bruce, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is wrong with you? God damn it. Oh, God. Stop. Stop.
What? I know you loved her, but I cannot believe you did not save a picture of me as well.
I cannot believe you actually loved Jim Gordon's daughter, you poon hound. Now, despite my criticisms of the show mainly being that the villains aren't that great, there are still some really great episodes in Batman Beyond. Some of the best I've seen in the DC animated universe, like the first two episodes that introduced Terry. Season 1, episode 7, Shriek, is a really fantastic episode. Spellbound is really good. The final episode of season 1 is also really nice. And what's cool about this final episode is that they could have ended the show right here and it still would have been fine, but they kept on going. Despite me complaining about Karari not having much of a personality, this episode featuring her in Final Cut has some really solid fight scenes and awesome animation. Sneak peek is goated. The Egg Baby. I thought this episode was going to be horrible, but it actually turned out being pretty fun to watch. Zeta tells the story of a robot who doesn't want to do war stuff anymore, and that was pretty interesting. April Moon. This episode is pretty dark, and yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Centuries of the Last Cosmos. This episode was really fucking boring. Out of the Past rightfully deserved the high IMDb rating that it got. This episode was fantastic. And wow, one of the writers for this episode is Paul Dini. Yeah, that really makes sense as to why it's so good. Then we got painfully average episodes like Earth Mover, Joyride, and Lost Soul. Like, I just don't remember anything from these three episodes. Okay, I'll try to summarize. Earth Mover has like a ghost that can mess with the Earth or something. Joyride, okay. Despite me saying that this episode was average, it was interesting seeing teenagers cause trouble, I guess. And Lost Soul, I definitely don't remember this episode at all. I actually thought I skipped it, but then when I saw the scenes, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I did see this episode. But yeah, man, just a forgettable episode. There's the call part 1 and 2 where Terry joins the new Justice League. And I gotta say, these Justice League members are total dicks in my opinion. I mean, yeah, they save people, but they start disrespecting Terry by calling him a kid and whatnot before they even see what he's capable of. And then when Terry gives them evidence of Superman trying to kill someone, they refuse to believe it, or at least Barda does, who is a total bitch, by the way, Who is Barda? Is she like the daughter of Wonder Woman?
I know even less about your vehicle than I do about you.
What reason would I have to make up any of this?
What reason would Superman have to kill Warhawk?
Bitch, did you not remember the final episodes of Superman, the animated series, where Darkseid pretty much brainwashed and messed with Superman's head? Like, he's gone rogue before. You should know, if you're going to be part of the Justice League, you should know your superhero history, you daffy broad.
It's easier for me to believe you fabricated
This club, you people came to me.
It was only Superman who came to you. And now you're accusing him of murder. It doesn't make sense.
I know it doesn't, but we're never gonna get to the bottom of it unless you open your eyes and stop being so pig-headed.
Pig-headed?
What a fucking bitch. This woman's a superhero?
And now those starfish things are on all of them. Any ideas?
All I can do is have Barbara contact the military.
But they'll bomb the place.
That's their job.
Well, dang, Bruce. So much for your no-kill role. I just like how Superman, brainwashed Superman, is just flying towards the Batwing with just a stilted
Faster than a speedy bullet.
movement. That's terrifying. I gotta say, while marathoning the DC animated universe, it's a good thing that these shows came out before 9/11, because there are so many moments in Batman TAS, and definitely in Superman TAS and Batman Beyond, where we just see buildings, tall buildings, just get absolutely wrecked. Honestly, these two episodes that introduce the Justice League, or the concept of the Justice League, to the DC animated universe, not the best start. I mean, they're not bad. They're not even okay. They're just all right. And I really do hate what's her name in the thumbnail right here. Just a total jerk.
I'm Eddie's Batman. Now you die.
Yep. It's not a 90s show until you have at least one Akira reference. The final episode of Batman Beyond is it's not really that climactic, to be honest. You see, this was back in the day where shows didn't really have climaxes. They just kind of ended, and then they would get some sort of cartoon movie if the show was popular enough, like with Ed, Edd and Eddy. Anyway, although this episode isn't really that climatic, it's still really good. Yeah. As you can tell by the video title, I just got done watching the episode, but as you can tell by the title of the episode, Unmasked, basically Terry ends up showing off his face by accident to save a child. And this episode is dark. One person gets murdered by being thrown into a snake pit. A child almost gets murdered by being thrown into a snake pit, but Batman saves him on time. And the villain actually commits suicide in this show that's, quote unquote aimed at kids, and that was a good episode. Yeah, my biggest issue though is that it does take place in flashback land, so we already know that Batman is going to be safe at the end of the day. That Terry managed to hide his identity, and it's a solid episode. And 50 plus episodes of Batman Beyond. It's a good show, just not as good as TAS, Batman TAS, or the New Batman Adventures, or Superman TAS. It's a little weaker in some areas, but again, good show. To be honest, I forgot that Terry McGinnis even had a brother, and I don't know why his brother's in the show. Total waste of animation, that kid is. And the show, and like I said earlier, the show doesn't do anything with Terry's girlfriend. What's her name? I don't know. I forgot. It doesn't matter. She only has really one episode dedicated to her where she gets kidnapped by the rat incel. And even then, she doesn't really have any development. And the other girl, Max, who's like Terry's Alfred, I guess, his informer or something like that. She's a fine character, but again, the show doesn't really do anything with her. I will say this though, Terry McGinnis is the best character in the entire show though, outside of Bruce Wayne. You know, his lifestyle kind of reminds me of Peter Parker with having to balance his superhero life. So I just finished Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, the finale movie to cap off the show. Well, technically, there's a Justice League episode called Epilogue that really finishes Terry's story, but at the time, this was the true finish for the story. And I gotta say, 9 out of 10 movie. You know, I mean, I've been seeing this movie since it came on Cartoon Network, cable television when I was a kid. But now that I really actually sat down and paid fully attention to it outside of seeing clips of it on YouTube, yeah, this is one of the best DC animated universe movies I've ever seen. I think I actually like it more than Mask of the Phantasm. I don't know if that opinion will upset someone. I don't even know if you made it this far into the video, you know, considering I don't really put in much effort or quality. But yeah, yep. Max, you know, the black girl I just talked about, she's not in this movie at all. She's not even mentioned. And yeah, I can kind of see why, because she doesn't really contribute much to the show at all. You know, I'm not saying she's a bad character, but, you know, she's usually just there, you know, just to give Terry some tips at occasionally. And Terry's girlfriend, Dana, yeah, I still haven't really bothered remembering her name. Yeah, she spends most of this movie hospitalized. She doesn't even show up during the ending. So yeah, she's still a useless character for the most part. She's just there to play hostage. Like even Lois Lane in Superman the Animated Series played a bigger role in handling Superman's mental health and contributing to the finale than Superman than Dina or Dana did. But I mean, outside of that, this movie was awesome. Some of the best animation I've ever seen in a superhero film. And I really don't got any other opinions that haven't already been said about this movie. There's universal agreement that this is a great movie. I do find it very fascinating how, as time went on in the DC animated universe, Joker just got more and more evil, and he was already evil. But he was also unpredictable too, because the thing is, there would be like an episode in Batman TAS where Joker gets rid of some comedians, doesn't even kill them, just so he can win a trophy in a comedy show. And then in this movie, he's just straight up blowing up buildings, killing hundreds of people. He did that as well in Superman TAS. And in the new Batman Adventures, Joker straight up is a confirmed killer, like he has a kill count. And yeah, it's nice seeing the DCAU, you know, get more and more mature with each show. And it's on to Justice League next. Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, though, I do have cape fatigue, so I'm taking a break from watching this series or watching any more superhero stuff for a while. And yeah, I'm just gonna marathon Primal or early Simpsons or something like that. So yeah, Batman Beyond, good show, but the Return of the Joker movie was better than pretty much the entire show. Yep. Also, there's this other series called The Zeta Project, but I don't feel like watching that. And there's Static Shock, and I would have watched Static Shock. However, uh, seasons season 4 is unavailable for purchase, and well, I mean, I can probably get it on Amazon via DVD. And I don't feel like getting a streaming service just to watch Static Shock. Yeah, so it's on the Justice League next.